2 Stangs, 2 Superchargers, 1 Canyon.
And today we're here to put these 2 Mustangs to the test to see which one comes out on top. My name's Trent.
My name's Jason, and you're watching Got an X. The 2023 Ford Mustang Shelby Speedster comes with a massive 5-liter supercharged V8 engine that creates an impressive 825 horsepower. It comes with an improved suspension, new performance tires, and a whole bunch of cosmetic changes, netting one of the most distinguishable Mustangs yet.
The 2022 Roush Mustang builds on the already great Ford Mustang GT. The Roush package adds a Roush supercharger which bumps the engine output up to 750 horsepower and 670 pound-feet of torque. That means you have 300 more horsepower and 260 pound-feet more torque at your disposal over the standard Mustang GT. The Roush Mustang also includes advanced high-capacity cooling technology featuring a full-face low-temperature radiator, which significantly boosts cooling efficiency, enabling higher output and peak performance. Along with all that, you also get 20-inch Roush wheels in palladium gray, Magno-Ride suspension, and lowering springs, a Roush active exhaust system, and overall body improvements such as the Roush grille with the Roush badge, front shin spoiler, Roush rear deck lid, along with plenty of other small improvements. All those options combined make this one of the best performing Mustangs built to date.
No problem. First thing you guys might have noticed when you guys saw this Mustang is that it looks quite a bit different than just your standard Mustang. That's speaking the 2022 Mustang, since this is a 2022 Roush. But it's got major performance upgrades and it does have its little bit styling differences. But right now, let's see what this thing can do on the road.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah, they weren't kidding with the horsepower.
Oh yeah, this thing is fun. I mean, it rips going down the straights.
But that's not what we're here for today. We want to talk about the actual handling experience of the Roush. So let's get into that.
Okay, that's true, but every great car that has great handling also has a good amount of power behind it. But yes, you're right. We're here to talk about the handling. And I will say this car does, Ford Mustang handles pretty well. It does have that stigma of being a crowd killer, as everybody knows and hears about. But I say that this is a major upgrade over just, the standard crowd killer, I'd say. That it handles pretty well, not as well as the touring cars and cars like the 911s, but those are meant for roads like this. So I definitely think it does pretty well, but what do you think about the driving experience, you being the passenger seat?
I think the passenger seat, one thing that kills me is because we've been in a lot of cars together. We've done a lot of these canyon-esque roads, and the biggest one that always catches me off guard is it's nowhere near the same experience as some of these cheaper cars like the Type R or something like the Golf. Those vehicles aren't necessarily crazy expensive, but they feel like they're a little bit more in your seat. I think the suspension in this is a little bit rough for this kind of road. You feel so much more.
Yeah, I'll definitely say I feel, compared to those cars, I feel every bump, rock, pebble compared to that. And I will say that's where the Mustang falls short, in my opinion, is it's not known for its handling, so it definitely doesn't handle as well as these smaller cars. You can have more fun with cars like that because I feel like there's a little more trust with cars like that. But I think there is quite a bit of improvement on this car compared to, honestly, we haven't driven the Shelby yet, but I have high hopes for this one. I think this one will do really well compared to it. It doesn't have as much power per se, but it's honestly still a really fun car to drive.
Once I get my hands behind the wheel, I might be able to give a little bit more of an opinion fully on this, but I really do feel like this isn't too much different than the normal Mustang. I know we have the supercharger under the hood. I know we have a little bit more, different wheels, everything along those lines, but honestly, it feels like a 2023, 2022, that kind of generation of the Mustang. And I'm kind of sitting here curious how the 2024 might just be better.
Yeah, I mean, with the new generation of the Mustang, I think it already beats this one. Just it's got a lot of improvements and better trim levels. Yeah. But if you're looking at buying a higher performance Mustang, especially if you don't like the new look of the new ones, if you want a little bit older, I think this is the way to go. We're going right now pretty steady speed. We're going pretty fast, and you feel it wants to slide a little bit. That's the first thing I'll notice. It does drive honestly like a boat. Everybody says muscle cars drive like boats. It's definitely a lot heavier in the corners. You feel your body, I guess, rolling with the car. Yeah. But
And I mean, you are incredibly experienced with these hills. I mean, it's not like you're not used to this kind of driving experience, but man, these turns are really, really hard, and how big and boat-like this Mustang is.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've driven roads like this growing up my entire life, so this isn't new to me. I'm used to this kind of feel, but if you're a beginner doing this, it's going to feel a little bit different. But I will say it handled that really well. A lot better than I expected, and I'm pretty surprised by it.
I think it does hit the right little sweet spot, but I'm going to take it down. We're going to see how it goes, vice versa, everything like that. Someone a little less experienced with the canyons, more experienced with the muscle cars in general, though, and we'll just see how it feels.
All right, well, let's get out and swap.
All right, well, now it is my turn in the Roush, and honestly, I drove the Shelby before this. That's how we got the car here. No one's stupid. We all know we have to get the cars here somehow. But the Shelby was a little bit more aggressive up front than this already feels. I mean, this thing, I think, kind of already, I mean, we're doing these turns, and maybe it's me, but I'm a little less aggressive of a driver than Trent, especially on turns that are as sharp as this one here, because this is wicked. I mean, I'm also going downhill. Things are sliding around. But man, I think, honestly, I'm a little bit shocked at how well this one controls its horsepower.
Yeah, definitely. It's not, I mean, I haven't driven the Shelby yet, but I mean, that one just has an overall more aggressive look to it, so I'm guessing it's going to have a more aggressive handling and performance.
Yeah, no, I mean, that one is close to, I don't even know, maybe like 300 more horsepower than the Roush, because I think this one's sitting around somewhere around 5. I know you said that a little bit earlier, but I was more concerned about my life. But, I mean, honestly, this thing can just pick up. I mean, it handled those turns really, really nicely. Yeah, I took them a little bit slower than I probably needed to. But man, it is pretty good. And the suspension I was ragging on, you don't feel it as the driver.
Yeah, I will say, you felt it in your ass as the driver. As a passenger, though, I mean, you feel it everywhere. But then again, I'm not sitting in the passenger seat. I'm not focused on the road like you are. So
yeah, no,
as a driver, you don't notice it.
It definitely does do a very good job handling wise. I mean, those turns are probably the most canyon-esque curves we can ever find in any situation ever, and it really just does well with it. I am a little bit more impressed now that I'm behind the wheel. I was a little bit more skeptical as a passenger. Overall, though, I do think that the Roush does a surprisingly good amount of being a slightly bit better than the normal Mustang, having that good horsepower underneath the hood, but controlling it. I think control is something that you can really, really feel when you're in this one and you're doing these fun turns. And of course, it's fun to speed up too.
Yeah, who doesn't like going fast? One thing I do want to ask you is, how do you think this will size up to the Shelby? Which one do you just hypothesize will do better?
I'm gonna not get too over eager. How about we just hop right into the Shelby and we'll figure that one out in there.
All right, I like it.
All right, now first things first, we're not gonna start this one the same as the last one because this car is still technically in its break-in period, so we can't really do anything too crazy fast, but that's okay because that's where handling really can shine. It's because we're not gonna be doing anything extreme in this, but we're still gonna be getting a little bit of speed. We're gonna pick it up and we're gonna have a good time, and we're just gonna cruise through this canyon. But immediately, because I mean, I'm coming hot off of driving the Roush in that last thing, it's just already a little bit worse. I mean, this thing feels,
oh my God,
so much tankier. But there goes Trent, so here he is now. We're just gonna vaguely recover for a few seconds. Already we're feeling that this car's turns are so much harder than they were in the Roush. I feel like there's such a thing as too much horsepower. I mean, man, this is fun in the straightaway. I mean, right now we're just straight, no curves right now. We are down the line, and I mean, this is where it really picks up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I will definitely say that. Just going downhill in general, this car is pretty fast, but dude, just going through those canyon turns right there, you could just feel this thing was sliding. And first thing I'm noticing just sitting in the passenger seat is the field of view in this car is
way worse.
Yeah, the hood, it's a bulkier hood. It's got the intake and everything on the hood. It makes it just so much harder to see.
Yeah, there is still the benefit, though, of this is a convertible, technically speaking, so we could drop that and then open up a little bit more and see a little bit more around us. But honestly, so far, I'm a little less impressed. I think for the more expensive car, the more horsepower, I think there's too much horsepower for something like this, right? Like, I feel like that's such a weird thing to say. So many people are like, oh, you have a car with 400 horsepower? That's not nearly enough. And they're thinking of things like this, which is 800 and whew, I don't even know the exact number, but it's over 800. It's not over 9,000, but we're getting close to it at this point. And it really does just feel like, man, you can have great straight speed, great time on the track, but the handling is just not there.
Yeah, I would definitely say. And another thing I want to know about this car is, compared to the Roush, sitting in the passenger seat, this car actually rides a lot rougher than that car, where I feel like you can feel more of the road, which I don't personally like. It's also, it seems a little bit louder in here, like you hear more of the road noise.
More of the road noise.
Which it doesn't make too much sense just because they're still Mustangs, they're still the body of the Mustang, but...
I think that might be due to the convertible top, in all honesty.
That's true.
But, I mean, the one thing that we can talk about is, if you're going for sound, this sounds 100 times better. You can hear it a lot more. I mean, it is loud, it is powerful. I mean, people are going to get out of the way because they know we're cruising through the canyon, but...
Yeah, this car definitely has a presence.
They kind of need to get out of the way because I'm not going to be able to swerve. They have to. I mean, here's another little turn right here, and we can already just feel it is boat-like. And man, you called the Roush a boat, and now I feel like we owe that thing an apology.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, this car still seems like it'd be super fun, but in a different situation. I think that's one great thing about the Roush and the Mustang is, to me, it seems like they're built for different driving styles and what you want to go take it and do it with. So that's one thing I can appreciate about this car compared to the Roush, where it's got its own niche.
Yeah, I feel like the on that point, the Shelby is very, very much designed for one thing and almost one thing only, and that is the pure power. This one is supposed to do everything fast, and it's going to be a little bit sturdier, where the Roush, on the other hand, is much more of a all-rounder. So I don't know, I think we should get you into the driver's seat and give your opinion, and then we can close out from there.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, now that I'm in the driver's seat, my rightful position.
Okay, listen here. I am the passenger princess in this situation.
That's right.
But right now, we do have a new camera angle because you can already tell the suspension, or not the suspension, but the drive experience is a lot more shaky in that car. I mean, there's both the same year and a half, the same generation, let's put it like that. And we tried connecting it to the same exact spot, and it worked on the Roush, and on the Shelby it fell over. So now we're trying again.
Yeah, but speaking about that as well, there's a lot more feedback from the steering wheel when you're going over the bumps. It shakes the whole steering wheel. Just the Roush seemed a lot softer, which I like that a lot more.
You like soft and delicate because it's what you are.
Yes, exactly. But I will say that I just love that sound of the exhaust. You can hear this one a lot more. It just sounds meaner, to be honest.
Yeah.
It sucks that we can't do any pulls in this car, but I'll still appreciate this car for what it is. One thing about it is, it's definitely, dude, this thing feels like twice as heavy.
Dude, it's a boat! It's a boat!
Like, the steering feels heavy. Like, when I turn the steering wheel, I gotta put more force into it.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun car to drive. I definitely, if I had a Shelby,
I just blocked you off on accident.
I'd say it's still a fun car to drive. But if I had a Mustang like this one, I don't think I would be doing stuff like this. Yeah. This is definitely, to me, I mean, I wouldn't even probably daily a car like this. It'd be more like a weekend car. But it's still capable of doing this, just not at the same speed that the previous, the Roush could do it, as well as plenty of other cars.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun car. When it keeps up pretty fast, there's no, I don't know, you don't feel gravity pulling down on it. You don't have any struggle going up the hill. Not to say that the other one did. It just, it's responsive.
Steering.
Yeah. This one responds very well. And I do like that a lot. Oh man, stepping on the brakes. These brakes are super, super good. I will say they respond super fast. So I do like that. It's nice if you are going to be crashing or you're going way too fast, you at least know you're going to stop on a dime. Yeah. So that's one thing that this Mustang, will say, it seems to beat the Roush. Now we're coming up to the turns. I'm not going super fast, but it's,
I mean, you can already feel it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's heavier. I have to put more work into turning the car, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I would say. It's a good thing as, you have to put more focus into the driving experience of this car compared to the other one. What sucks though is I barely stepped on the gas right there, and I felt like the back end was slipping out, and that wasn't even the tight turn. We're on the tight turn right now, and
I mean, it is
I'm a little
rough.
Yeah, I'm a little scared to take that at speed. Even if we were past the braking period, I don't think I would go much faster than that, just because this thing feels like it's gonna slide out. And just to know, you guys, we are like on the edge of a cliff, so if you
slide out, you're done. No more videos.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
So I was like, yeah, maybe some people will take a lot faster, but they probably have a lot more driving experience than me. It's a fun car, but the Roush definitely beats it out.
I just don't think it really is. We'll wrap it up in our conclusion here in a second, but so far, it's the more expensive car doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better at everything.
Yes, but let's wrap it up in our conclusion.
Now, this is where money doesn't get you everything. Sure, if you had as much money in the world, you could buy both of these cars, but if you are someone who wants to drive specifically in this type, I think Shelby did in fact get beat.
Yes, and I, to be honest, was thoroughly surprised by that, because the Shelby looks honestly a lot better in my opinion, and it costs a lot more, so I expected a lot more out of that one compared to this one. Speaking of, for double the price of the Roush, you can get, yes, a more powerful car, but one that handles a lot worse.
And that is just absolutely insane to me, because at this point, Shelby is such a household name, and we expect it to do so much better. But yes, before you crucify us in the comments down below, we know that these aren't the specific niche that these cars are built for, and they're meant for down the track. And down the track, sure, I'm taking the Shelby, because this is way faster, way more powerful when it comes to it. But when it comes to this more precise, handling-esque driving experience, Shelby really does just fall short. Let us know what you guys think, though, in the comments down below. Would you rather have the Shelby anyways, because of course, I mean, it's a Shelby, or would you rather have the Roush that's a little bit sleeker? I mean, I know what me and Trent are both taking for this.
But if you guys want to see more videos like this, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.